The Double Switch by Carole Neuok. Chapter 17. Before long, we were driving up to a big green barn. Kyle beeped his horn 3 times and parked. 3 women came running from the barn, wiping their hands on ruffled aprons. One look, and I knew that these 3 women were my biological sisters, and I started to cry. Kelsey was crying too. We ran into each other's arms. I opened my eyes and saw Katie and Christy wiping tears from their own eyes. I motioned for them to join us in a group hug, and they ran over and we all hugged. We all started talking at once. They each introduced themselves, not that they had to. I had been checking out their Facebook pages for the last week. I knew exactly who was who and the names and faces of all of their children by heart. Once all of the introductions had been made, they invited us into a barn, which I found had been renovated. Tables were set up for us to sit. Food covered a long countertop, and we were invited to dig in. I sat with my sisters, and we talked and talked. I was amazed at how much we still had to talk about after FaceTiming them almost every day for the last week since they had returned from China. After lunch, the men cleaned up and sent us on a walk around the grounds. The lake was clean, and I could see small fish swimming around the pier. We walked along a narrow road that had been built through the heavily wooded area, and they each showed me their campers. Then they showed me the cabin where Amy and I would be staying. Sam and Amy had already brought our things in, and I found mine in a flowery bedroom. After that, we walked to the beach and sat on benches and watched the children play in the water. Kelsey looked sadly at her daughters. When I see how they are together, I feel kind of sad about the fact that we did not get to grow up together. She said, "They are so close, and you and I missed out on that closeness. We have the rest of our lives to grow close now." That we do. I told her about my imaginary friend. She thought that was funny. Kyle used to have an imaginary friend too, she said. He used to call him his brother. Did he have a name, I asked. I don't think so. He would just say, "I'm going to play with my brother now." One time he was playing rather rough and broke a lamp. When Mom scolded him, he said, "I didn't do it. My brother did." I laughed at that. How old was he when he gave up his brother? I think he was around 3 or 4. I was 12. 12? Kids usually give up their imaginary friends long before that. Yes, I know. You see, there were no girls my age for miles around. I did have a few girl cousins later on when I was a teenager. At the time, it was just me and Kaylee. That was her name. Wow, that is so close. I wonder what Mom would have named you if you had been raised with us, she said. Well, now we have the rest of our lives to get to know each other, I said. I saw some videos of you playing your guitar and singing with your friend Amy. You are quite talented, Kelsey said. Thank you. That is kind of you to say. I hope that we can get together and perform sometime, perhaps for your mother. Our mother would love that. Her birthday is coming up in September. We could do something just for her. What kind of music does she like? Southern gospel. I know because he lives. Amy and I play it quite often, I said. That is her favorite song of all time. It would be perfect. It can be our gift to her. She doesn't want material gifts. She will love to have us sing to her. She loves to watch us all perform for her. Let's go to my cabin and give it a try. I have an extra guitar with me and the sheet music. Kelsey was a quick learner. She looked over the sheet music, and before I could get my guitar tuned up, she was playing the song. She took the lead singing, and I harmonized with her. Mom is going to cry when she hears us. Do you mind if I record this? I asked, as I got out my tripod and set it on the counter. Not at all. Promise to email me a copy. It only took one take, and we had it down. I sent it just in time for the dinner bell to ring. I was getting rather peckish, so we put the instruments away and went off to join the others. I could almost taste the brats as we arrived at the barn. 2 large grills had been set up outside, and they were manned by Katie, Christy, and Kelsey's husbands. One was covered with ears of corn that I had seen them picking shortly after we arrived. Burgers, brats, and hot dogs covered the other. It looked as if they were making enough to feed an army. I had my chocolate chip cookies in my hand and set it on the counter, alongside bowls of potato salad, pasta salad, taco salad, kale salad, and more. There was also a huge sheet cake with the words "Happy Birthday, Sam" written in blue frosting, and other tasty treats. Christian music played softly in the background on the PA system. In addition to my family, Sam's family was there, along with many of Sam's friends. There were more than twice as many people here as there were for lunch. We all held hands as Sam led us in saying grace. I looked around at all of the people enjoying the meal when I heard someone yell outside. One of the grill masters appeared at the door. "Is there a doctor in the house? We had a little mishap out here," he shouted. 5 people got up and ran to the door at once. A few minutes later, they were helping Christy's husband into the barn. It appeared that he had twisted his ankle. I'm okay, he protested as everyone looked his way. "I just turned my ankle when I tripped over that stump." "You have quite a burn from when you landed on the grill," Christy said. "Someone bring me more cold water." Katie was already headed towards her with a pitcher of cold water. They poured it over the burn, which was quite red. A pan of water was set down in front of him, and his foot, which was already starting to swell, was set into the cold water. Once he was settled, Kyle placed a small table in front of him. Christy brought him a plate of food, and one of their daughters brought him a glass of lemonade. The redness was soon gone, and there was no blistering. At dinner time, I got to hear the husbands' versions of my sisters' reactions when they found out about me. They made me laugh so hard. Kyle told the story about how he ran into me at the campground and thought that I was Kelsey. None of them seemed to have any anger about the whole incident. I felt cheated that I had not been able to enjoy this family for my entire life, even though I know better than to regret the past. We all sang happy birthday to Kyle after the meal was done. Once the party wound down, we all worked together to clean up. I was washing the dishes when Kyle came in and handed me some silverware that had been previously missed. I felt a jolt of electricity when his hand touched mine. We gazed into each other's eyes for a moment, and I felt a tingling deep in my stomach. He smiled at me, and I quickly looked away. I couldn't let myself be attracted to this man. Or could I? He looked like my brothers, even though he was nothing like them. He was a Christian who helped people and pray. He was a professor and a caring father to his children. I thought about the list that I had made before heading to Life Fest. Could he be my perfect match? That was ridiculous. It would be like being with my brother, wouldn't it? I could not date this man. I plunged my hands into the sink full of hot, soapy water. The lemony fragrance filled my lungs. It's a good thing that we used paper plates. At least there isn't so many dishes to wash, Katie said. I should go wash off the tables. We don't both need to dry, Christy said. Don't need to. Our hubbies have that covered, Katie said. Besides, You have to get everything put away, I added. Stay and talk with me. We have barely had a chance to get to know each other. Kelsey has been keeping you to herself so far, Katie said. She was so excited to meet you. We all were, Christy added. I was excited to meet all of you, too. Kyle mentioned that you gave him quite a hard time until he finally told her, and then us. Is that why you didn't bring Lenny? I didn't bring Lenny because he was drunk, and he was still wearing the same clothes he had been wearing for the last 2 days. He didn't have anything packed and figured he could just sleep in his clothes one more time. Oh my, Katie said. Did you tell Kyle that? Not really. I just told him that he wasn't ready to meet him, which is the truth. He's always been a drinker. When we arrived, he was worse than I've seen him. I think the whole thing is affecting him more than he is willing to admit, even though he was raised with the right family. He is disappointed that he can't sue anyone. He already had that money spent. He sounds like quite a character, Christy said. He sounds like he needs to know the Lord, Grady said. Does he have a job? Christy asked. All of my brothers work on the farm. Dad gave each of the older boys a 20-acre lot of their own as a wedding gift. They each built a home for their family on their land. They still farm everything together, just like it was still one farm. Lenny still lives with Dad. Is he dating anyone? Katie asked. He dates, but nobody's serious. And I don't think that any of the women that he dates are actually marriage material. We should be praying for him, Christy said. I appreciate that. He needs every prayer he can get. Amy and I pray for him all of the time. Well, that about does it for the dishes. I'm going to get my knitting and sit by the lake. Anyone care to join me? Christy asked. I'll be down in a bit, Katie said. How about you, Lindsay? Do you knit? I do, I said. I could use a short nap first. I was excited to meet all of you and didn't sleep well last night. If I'm not up by the time the bonfire starts, come and wake me up, please. You have exactly 3 hours before the music starts, Christy said. Enjoy your nap. We'll see you later, Katie said as she headed out the door. I was so happy that I finally got to meet them all. They were all such great people. I wondered what they thought of me and if we would be able to stay in each other's lives in the future. Only time would tell. Thank you for reading this chapter of my book, The Double Switch. I hope that you enjoyed it. If so, please click on the like button. It will also help you to mark the spot where you left off. When you come back to the book, just look for the last chapter that you liked, and you will know which chapter you read last. Please click on the subscribe button and the bell so that you can be informed each time a new chapter or story is uploaded. God bless. Carole, Neuok.